Hi, beautiful people. I hope you're doing great out there. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Astrid. I'm a Western astrologer. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel because sharing is caring. And let me know in the comments below where you are watching this from. So, before we start, I want to quickly mention that I only have 2 spots available for personal readings for the rest of the year. So I opened up my schedule now for January next year. So if you want to book in for this year, you can do that by clicking the link in the description box below. So, Saturn. Hi, Felicia from Tampa, Florida. Oh, it must be so beautiful there, like the crystal blue water. I would really, really love to visit Florida one day. So, welcome. Okay, Saturn. Saturn is a very happy planet. It's like the taskmaster, and it's turning into direct motion on the 15th of November, so a couple of days ago. It's been a retro since June 2024. Yeah, and it will stay into the sign of Pisces until next spring. By then, it will jump into the sign of Aries by the end of May. So, one part of your chart is going forward with stoic rewards, which is actually positive because when Saturn goes retrograde, it's a very big, intense review of our very burdened, heavy lessons that we need to reach in this lifetime. Hi, Jana. Welcome back. She's Jana from Belgium, and she's like very, very great with the Lenormand cards. So, hey, Jana, welcome. So, Saturn is a very, very slow moving planet. So, and it will take some time until we will really feel its positive direction forward again. And meanwhile, Mercury prepares to turn retrograde. In December, Mars will prepare to turn retrograde. And this whole year, the end of the year is like one big re-evaluation. And in the spring next year, when we have the real new year, the astrological new year, things will slowly start to get going again. And March is going to be a very, very important month during 2025. Actually, whole 2025 will be very, very important because all our slow moving planets are going to jump signs. They will all ingress into another sign, which is actually very, very rare and very, very special. But I'll make a whole other video about that as well. So it's in Pisces, and Pisces is actually a very, very watery house. It is connected to the 12th house in traditional astrology, and it's about spiritual awakening, liberation, divine downloads. But it's also about like the underprivileged, the homeless, the displaced, and it also points out shorelines, borders between land and the sea, hurricanes, floods. So yeah, all the floodings that we've seen is actually also due to Saturn and Pisces. And whenever Saturn goes direct, it's like a big restructuring of the world. And we can like clearly see that now by Trump announcing his whole new cabinet. So that is like a big, big theme that is going to be highlighted over the next couple of weeks. But Saturn in itself, Saturn is like a very strict teacher. It is wisdom by maturing. It is hard lessons, delays, setbacks. But in the end, Saturn really wants to stabilize something for the future. It's also about your long-term goals, and Saturn wants to perfect that. It's like the goat climbing up the mountain, and success only comes through hard effort and by failing and getting back up again. So that's why a lot of people don't really like Saturn, because he's very, very strict. But Saturn also rules time and history. So we are always reflecting back on that while it's in retrograde motion. It's about correcting past behavior by implementing the energy of Saturn. So really gaining more wisdom as well, especially in the sign of Pisces. So patience, perseverance is also a very big one for Saturn. And Saturn can really make you like a very big or great master in the areas that you would like to improve yourself on, but it will take a lot of hard work and dedication. But Saturn, over a long period of time, really gives you like the tangible results from your efforts by having like a lot of discipline and a lot of concentrated energy in those matters. So most influenced are going to be like a Saturn ruled chart, like Capricorn or Capricorn rising, Aquarius rising as well. But it is also very important for Pisces because Saturn is actually in your sign right now. So you can like reflect back on what has been happening since June. Some themes that you were struggling with or that came up during that time can like really go into the right direction again. So if you have planets around 9 or 15 degrees in Pisces in your chart, you will be very, very impacted by that. Others who are having degrees after 15, so from 15 to 29, Saturn will move over those planets until spring next year. So the real big ingress in Aries will happen on the 24th of May, but it will go retrograde one more time back into Pisces to wrap up the last final lessons revolving the themes that you're struggling with right now. So for all the Aries who are watching, next year and 2026 and 3 years from then will be very, very important for all the Aries because Saturn will then jump into your sign. But now Saturn that is direct is like more courage, more energy, less delays, and it creates lasting impact on what you are working with when it goes direct. So it could like indicate the end of a conflict or things being stuck in one area of life that are now moving forward again. Hi, Shira from Czechia. A Czech lady, greetings from Spain. Oh, Spain. I love Spain. My grandparents used to live there and I visited a lot when I was young. So welcome, Shira. We'll quickly jump over to the map of Saturn. So you can see Saturn is actually at the 12th degree stationing direct. So the 12th degree is also a Pisces degree, putting like an extra emphasis on all the Pisces area, all the Pisces themes that I just mentioned. So yeah, Pisces in its lower manifestation can really create illusions, delusions, feeling foggy, not being able to concentrate as much. It's like, yeah, it can be a little bit foggy and very unclear, feeling lost in the mist. And yeah, because Saturn indicates setbacks, a lot of people can feel confused with Saturn and Pisces. But now we go from a more introspective and feeling stagnant to more forward momentum in the area where Saturn is currently transiting in your chart. So whenever a planet becomes stationary, the symbolism really gets magnified. So in the near future, it could bring up more problems with water, seas, oceans, floodings, especially next year when Uranus will hit its critical 29th degree in June. By then, Saturn will switch towards another sign. It will conjunct Neptune, so very, very intense energy around those themes. And also, as you can see here, Saturn is making a square with Jupiter. And it's actually the second square. The first one we had in August on the 19th. Then we had the UK riots. So these themes are going to be getting up and being highlighted again by the end of the year, because Saturn is resentment, Pisces is foreign, faraway places, unknown people, square to Jupiter. Jupiter is enlarging, expanding everything. In Gemini, resembles local people. So that's also why we just witnessed what is going on in the Netherlands, the violence that's been playing out, that's been going on there. It's been happening here in my country, in Belgium and Antwerp as well. So these things will really, really get more intense by the end of the year. And the exact square will happen on the 24th of December. So actually just around the holiday periods. So that's something to be mindful of, about. So Pisces is actually very, very ethereal. It doesn't know any boundaries. And Saturn is the planet of limits and boundaries. So these two, they do not blend in very well together. The challenge here can be really setting boundaries or taking responsibility towards them. And Pisces is the sign of self-undoing, and it belongs to the 12th house, to where Saturn is actually in right now. So we can see now that Saturn in Pisces is creating a lot of mental health issues. And that became very clear in the beginning of 2023, because in March 2023, Saturn entered into Pisces for the first time. So then we saw like a big increase in mental health problems. And they said it was connected to the lockdowns, and I'm sure this is like a very big indication. But what's also connected to Pisces is like the movie industry, and Pisces also rules movies, musicians, like imagination. And we've seen like a big downfall of the celebrity status in the past couple of weeks, months, with all the whole P. Diddy that was going on as well. So these celebrities were setting very high standards, which are like very hard to obtain. It's also connected through the social media apps, and a lot of teenagers not being able to live up to these high standards. That celebrities also create like confusion in the subconscious with certain type of lyrics. Then we saw the big Disney grooming children thing that came up from a very young age. So all these things became very clear and very talked about whenever Saturn entered Pisces last year. And what I noticed is that a lot of famous celebrities, they have their south node in Pisces. So the south node is actually about our past life. It's our past themes also from this life. It's our past with Saturn karma. So Saturn has been transiting over a lot of them, or a lot of their south nodes. So they are like facing karmic repercussions now, or about to do so now that Saturn is direct again. So it's also about things behind the scenes, very private, hidden things. And also Pluto, that was at its 20, or still is at its 29th degree, because I'm filming this on the 17th of November, and it's gonna jump into Aquarius on the 19th of November. So that's also a very, very big one, and I will talk more about this tomorrow in my upcoming video about Pluto and Aquarius. But this transit also make sure that people who misuse their power or were put on a pedestal, they were like really, really fell off during these times. So Pisces can also rule feeling a little bit isolated with Saturn there, but it's actually helping you to connect to the unseen realm. So if you have not been taking a lot of responsibility, if you have been avoiding things, if you have not been showing up or been in denial about some stuff, and you've been self-sabotaging yourself, now you will see like the results of that. The positive side of Saturn in Pisces is that it knows a lot about manifestation. Saturn is creating structure. So the key here is to like work with this energy very consciously on a more positive note, and really, really channel this energy into visualization. I suggest like make it your new hobby during this time while Saturn is still in Pisces, because if you have been like putting in the effort, Saturn can like really crystallize your imagination right now. But that's actually only for those who are not in denial and have been doing the spiritual work and the spiritual practice. So really be mindful of that and take this time to really manifest your dreams into reality, Saturn. So actually a very good time to make a vision board, to close your eyes and think about what you would like to enter your life. And bonus points for those who are not only going to think about themselves or more like in a selfish way. And I'm not saying you cannot manifest anything solely for yourself anymore, but with Pluto that's going to switch into Aquarius soon, Pluto really wants you to like think about humanity as a whole. And yeah, it's like it's not saying you cannot wish anything for yourself anymore, but like dive deeper into the intention behind what you are trying to call in right now. Because Pluto and Aqua, yeah, he doesn't really love selfish behavior and can then work in a very destructive way. So try to visualize, for example, huge land where you and your buddies can share some space, or share try to channel good insights that can like really benefit our whole society. And then you will get the results in a way quicker, in a quicker way. So hi, Claudia. So happy you're here with us today. Thank you so much. So if we look back at historic cycles, we saw an eclipse triggering the Pluto-Saturn conjunction in 2020. And we know what happened then, right? The whole thing started. I'm not going to say the words here on YouTube, but now we will have now we're having actually an eclipse cycle in Virgo and Pisces, and we just had like a very important eclipse on the 17th of September in the sign of Pisces, stuck between Neptune and Saturn. And it kicked off like the whole Saturn-Neptune conjunction that is incoming. That is actually very important, because we will have more eclipses triggering the slowly conjunction that is coming in right now. So Saturn and Neptune conjunctions are very special. We're going to see very strange events happening over the next 3 years. It's going to get a little bit weird, especially with Pluto switching to Aquarius as well. So I'm going to be honest, be ready to see or hear or read some things on the news that you're going to be very baffled by. So Saturn and Neptune conjunctions are about the paranormal becoming structurized into the material world. It's like being able to see what's visible beyond our material world. It's like a manifestation of spirit. So the special thing is that the planet Neptune was discovered during a Neptune and Saturn conjunction. So how special is that, right? So I do suspect discovering a lot of new things that is beyond the physical realm. But what I also want to mention is right now on Netflix, the Manhattan alien abduction is currently released. And the whole alien abduction that they're talking about on Netflix right now also happened during a Neptune-Saturn conjunction in 1989. So it's so weird or so mind-boggling that right now, while Saturn and Neptune are closing in on each other, is being released to the public. So I just also want to mention to be very discerning about what you believe or about what they are trying to make you believe. There can be some manipulation revolving those themes as well. What's also connected to this special conjunction is Saturn and Neptune together are also connected with diseases. We saw the Spanish flu, we saw other very important, intense diseases coming out during those conjunctions. Let's hope and pray that this time it will be milder. And another big theme about the conjunction is big changes in Russian history. So we can already, yeah, see that right now, right? So I will make like a whole other video about the Neptune Saturn conjunction as well, but I really wanted to like highlight this right now because the energy is already here. Saturn and Neptune are like 15 degrees away from each other. So now that Saturn has moved direct, they will slowly start to conjoin. And then we will see all these strange events about UFOs, about the Russian history, about diseases. They will all be very into the open. And yes, you're totally right, Jana. I have the feeling that a lot will have spiritual shaking. Yes, shaking and awakening, and really having to look at in a different way towards spirituality as well. But be very discerning, and try to stay true to your own truth and listen towards your own intuition, because the dark arts people are really going to use this conjunction to mess with our minds. So be warned about that. So Saturn in Pisces not only deals with karma related to our mental health and spirituality, but because it's in the opposite sign of Virgo, it also deals with our physical health. Pisces Virgo is the health axis. And with these eclipses taking place in those axes for the coming year and a half, we will really need to be focused on those matters. The next eclipse will be in the sign of Virgo on the 14th of March. And then another total lunar eclipse will take place with Saturn at its 29th critical degree. And that will be in March, no, in September next year, I think. I should re-look at the dates. But just important to remember that the next eclipse in Pisces will be with Saturn in Pisces at its 29th degree. So that is going to be very intense. So these eclipses are about letting go of illusions, seeing where we like block Saturn or deceive Neptune ourselves, letting go of pointing fingers towards other people and like really start looking within ourselves to be able to really let go of our self-sabotaging behavior. So it's also going to highlight the need to let go, to let go the need of being saved by someone else, by your partner, by your friends, by your politicians. It is like a big time about getting clear how we can save ourselves. And Peter says, energy flows where attention goes, staying centered and heart focused is key. And thank you, Peter. That is such a valuable information. And we really need to stay centered and not let us be distracted by what they want us to think and what they want to install in our subconscious Neptune. So thank you, Peter. So Pisces is also about our shadow selves. Pisces' lesser manifestation is being a little bit stuck in a fantasy world, looking through rose-colored glasses, not being able to see the real truth. And actually, that is what makes Pisces such a compassionate sign, because they're so selfless, they're so caring, they're gentle, but they can sometimes be a little bit naive. And I'm allowed to say that because I have 4 planets in Pisces, and I had to go through some really harsh truths of having to be waking up about the fact that not everyone has the best intentions. And sometimes it's easy to be deceived when you're so selfless. So that is also a very big theme that is going to come up with the current eclipses. So Pisces can be like a little bit of dirt on your shadow that you need to cleanse in order to like really fully reawaken yourself and restore the connection to the divine. So the opposite sign, which I just mentioned, is Virgo. And I like to see Virgo as our inner critic. It always comes out to show you like all the bad outcomes. It is like the inner critic helps you to keep you safe. But sometimes it stops us from getting out of our comfort zone. Well, the biggest growth actually happens when we come outside of our, or when we get outside of our comfort zone. These can be like very wonderful moments. So these eclipses into these signs really like point out, be careful not to get caught up in a big illusion. And if something wonderful happens and it might feel too good to be true, also don't let your inner critic stop you from following your dreams. It's like a very thin line that needs to be walked, and it's it's not easy to balance out these energies. And I'm also going to say people who do not want to do the spiritual work will really start to spiral out of control. A lot of mental health issues will become very, very visible over the next couple of months. Because Pisces 12th house also rules jail, and a lot of them could feel like they're stuck into some kind of subconscious jail. So very important to balance out your spiritual health and your physical health, because some people are too focused on their physical health, like they do everything right, they work out, they eat right, but then they like totally neglect the subconscious side of their health, and vice versa. So it's really about looking at your health of your whole entire being. So good things to question or ask yourself is like, how do I deal with excuses? It's time to like really look into the mirror and really dive deep, so some things can really be released and have their final ending. That's also part of the 12th house. So try not to get controlled by your emotions and get sucked into them. Don't blame others for your own mistakes. It's really like time to like reflect and look into yourself and really to gain more structure or add more structure in your spirituality. And the 12th house stuff is also not about wanting to prove yourself to others. That's like more the Virgo sign. So Pisces is all about you and your connection to the other realms and to the divine. So yeah, Saturn and Pisces can really like give you a wake-up call and free you, or make you be able to like break the chains, breaking yourself free from like your self-imposed jail that we like to create for ourselves to keep ourselves safe. So when it was in retro Saturn, it's like it gave us a hard time to clear things out, to have a clear understanding. So now that it's turns direct, it will put more emphasis on these lessons, and maybe you've been too hard on yourself. It's also good for increasing your productivity. It's going to add some better self-discipline, better time management, and better emotional boundaries. So this unique blend of structure and discipline and the etheric boundless energy. Big lesson in spiritual growth, emotional intelligence, and solidifying visualizations. It's also actually a very good time to start a spiritual business, because Saturn is the planet of business. Pisces spirituality, it's like making the spiritual practices concrete. And it's like it can be very healing, because Pisces is also the sign of unconditional love. Saturn is also people in authority. And whenever it moves direct, we can expect more help from people who are in an authority position. This depending on which aspects it makes in your personal chart. But like on a more mundane level, we tend to get more help from authority now. So yes, really, really moving forward. Then by the end of the year, the Saturn-Jupiter square, which will make things really, really tense. Just try to, if you're walking against walls by the end of December, this Jupiter-Saturn square will like really, really open up debates about different belief systems. And my best advice for you would be try to tolerate people who don't know any better. And I think you will have to repeat that quite a few times during that time. So I'm gonna start the mini readings. For the sake of this video, I'm using tropical whole sign houses. In my personal readings, I use Placidus house system to get into greater detail, or we can add more depth to it. If you don't understand that, don't worry. I will also highlight the house where I will highlight the house where Saturn turns direct, and I will look at your Capricorn house too, because that is where Saturn is ruled. And because Venus is currently transiting Capricorn, and Venus was the ruler of the full moon we just had in Taurus on the 15th of November, I will look at that as well, because Venus is positive news, and I think with Saturn direct, we can expect some beautiful blessings in the house where Venus is currently residing. So the first one is Aries. Aries, your Saturn will turn direct into your 12th house. It's a natural, traditional house of Pisces. So yeah, very, very big impact for Pisces. And with Saturn moving into your sign in the spring next year, this is a very, very big one for you, my dear fellow Aries. But for now, it's moving direct into your 12th house, and your 12th house will start to go into a better direction. So the 12th house can feel very lonely because it's a very, very private house. It is isolation, solitude, hospital, but also spiritual retreats. So it doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. It's also about international companies, maybe some money that you're making behind the scenes related to that. Saturn is going to add new structures regarding that. But the 12th house is also the house of expenses. So, and there is a kind of need to save more money instead of spending. And Saturn here can really, really create a sober, realistic view on your expenses and on your spirituality as well. So mental health, suffering from doubts, fears, worries, they will all start to lessen. The 12th house can also be hidden enemies, private battles. It will all start to slowly move forward, or things that were happening around behind your back, their influence will also weaken. It's a very, very great time to really structurize a project that you've been working on behind the scenes. For example, writing something or something related to music, being an author, all these creative abilities will gain more structure. So you'll start seeing the results of those efforts, and you can really, really wrap up a project connected to spirituality or to the 12th house themes until spring next year. Also, if you have been struggling with addictions or with self-sabotaging behaviors, Saturn will constrain, restrict, and recreate new structures around bad habits as well. And if you have been struggling with very restrictive situations like hospitals or jails or imprisonment in your mind, this will start to weaken from December. You will start to feel it more or less in strength from December. So practice mindfulness, meditation, good time for past life regression. It will really clear your path towards inner peace and spiritual growth. It's good to heal from old wounds. Soul searching can be very, very beneficial. And it's also connected to water. So if you go walk by the sea or sit by the ocean or a lake, that can be very, very healing for the Saturn, the harsh influence of Saturn as well. So a lot of release and letting go of old things from the past that were a huge burden, can move into the right direction. Then for Aries risings, in a particular Aries risings. Saturn rules your 10th house. So there can be like an easing of burdens related to your career matters, to your reputation, and who you are in the world. And Venus is currently transiting here, so expect good things regarding your career. It's a good time to start a business, to become self-employed. Even if you don't do that, they're going to be good, very good blessings going to be found into the area of your career. So it could also be that like a woman, because Venus rules women, it can prove to be like of stabilization in your future or in your career as well. And next spring will be a completely new start for you, my dear Aries. Good luck to you. Taurus, Saturn goes direct into your 11th house, and the 11th house is a very social house. It is like the house where you find big groups of people, your friends. It's good for networking. So Saturn might have been giving some blocks in those areas. You could have felt a little bit of constraint and or constricted in the friendship area, but Saturn is also the planet of karma, so there could be like a very distant and karmic friendship entering your life during this time. So Saturn adds more structure to your social circles, to your long-term goals as well. Maybe some Tauruses have felt a little bit isolated during the retro motion since June from their friends and from their older sibling, because that's also found into the 11th house. And now that will like move forward again as well. Maybe some friends were a little bit demanding, and some unstable friendships will end as well. But the positive thing is that elderly people could prove to be of great help to you. You can meet friends through business, or can do business with friends as well. And if you have some delays in your income or in your gains, some problems start to unfold and get into the right direction as well. So it could like also improve your relationship with networks. And a big chance is that Tauruses have removed people in their friend groups during the retrograde. But I just want to highlight again that the friendship area is going to start moving into a more positive direction as well. The 11th house are also like your long-term goals. So you can also like create more stability or really start to recognize what your goals are. It's also perfect for recognizing who your real friends are. So what groups or communities really act as a stable influence in your life, and go more towards them. And for Taurus risings, Saturn rules your 9th house. So you could meet new stable friendships in the area of learning, teaching. The 9th house is also a travel house, so maybe while you're on a trip, while you're traveling, or friends introduce you to a new mentor, guru, teacher, or publisher, because that's also found in the 9th house. And you could also find more comfort or more blessings in your long-term aspirations, because the 9th house is also your vision about the future, so you can feel more stable about the future and something good can come from that. So good luck, Taurus. Gemini, your Saturn has been going direct in the 10th house, and the 10th house rules social standing, reputation, career, public image. And people who are born between 64, 67, they are going through their Saturn return. So that's actually mostly a time that indicates going to when you retire. So you've already been through this Saturn, you already know what it feels like. So you can like handle it more easily than others. Other people who are born between 93 and 96, they have like their Saturn return, and I have like should have mentioned that in the beginning of my video. So for you, it's like more maturing in the career area. So Saturn loves to be in the 10th house. It's its natural house. So it can feel like achieving the top of the mountain and now walking down to the other side of it. Saturn has been making a square to your sun or your rising. So Geminis are not having an easy time. It's like required to put like a lot more effort into your career or into your life in general, into your health. If it squares your rising, into your vitality as well, if it squares your sun. So you could have felt a little bit more restrained, a little bit more easily tired, and a lot of blocks are entering your path forward. So that is going to start to feel a little bit less heavy as well now. The 10th house also rules your career, and so also your bosses are found, or authority figures are found in that house. But it could also be like your own authority within yourself that has been like too strict on you. So be easy on yourself, Geminis. I know you've been like working hard, really doing the grind. So try to like not overburden yourself into the career area as well. Now that Saturn has moved direct, people in authority can be more of help towards you, or you're going to have the feeling that you will be more resilient or create more structure in your own business. And something that has been stagnant in those areas will start to slowly move again. Hi, E. Hartley. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, you are you are the 4 times Aries. That is so intense. Welcome to this video. So, if you have been having delays in your career or in your reputation, it will improve more by the end of the month. And your previous actions will slowly start to like be more rewarding, and authority figures can get or tend to get more of your back now. And for Gemini risings, Saturn rules your 8th house of joint finances, taxes, insurance, mortgage, but also trauma and deep intimacy. So all the joint ventures related to finances and money that you don't have to work for yourself are in that area. So with Venus there, you can like receive some blessings in those areas. And if some things were stuck in those areas, things get going again as well. Maybe you're waiting on some money from an insurance or a tax refund. And with Saturn in the 10th, you can get people in authority to really help you now towards those issues. So good time to restructure things around bank loans or mortgages. Saturn also rules the father, so maybe you can get a little bit of money from your father as well. That's also a possibility. Or your spouse's money can get more stable as well. So with Venus in the 8th house, expect pleasant surprises that start to unfold regarding those themes. So good luck, dear Geminis. And thank you for your fabulous humor. I really, really love you. Okay, the next one is Cancer. Cancer, your Saturn goes direct into your 9th house, and it's making like trine towards your sun. It's in a fellow sister water sign, so that's actually very positive for Cancer. It's like been really stabilizing your life since March 2023 until next spring. So the 9th house is a night of the future. It's higher wisdom as well. So you might feel more inspired towards the future. It's in the house of education, and Saturn really like wants you to become a master and complete maybe an important study, can be connected to spirituality. But overall, I've seen people graduate or like complete a very, very big, important course. The 9th house is also the house of legality. So legal and educational matters start to move forward again. If you have been bumping into some blocks regarding legal matters, now you can slowly start to solve things again that were stuck. The 9th house is also the house of long distance travel, so themes around travel, higher education, philosophy will start to come into focus as well, and delays around that will start to move forward again. So really positive for Cancers. This creates a lot of new structures and stability into your lives. So it can also be like a structured approach to expanding your horizons, and like a serious attitude towards your belief system as well. Or maybe a long journey will prove to be of stabilization and like restructures your vision, or a course can provide that as well. But the ninth house is really like being able to see the bigger picture. And I know when Saturn is retrograde or in the ninth house, it can be more difficult to really like gain a clear understanding about your higher vision or your vision about the future. But now you will find more stability in that, and doubt about the future slowly start to lessen by the end of the year. And you can also find answers to like long held questions. Older people can be of guidance to you, teacher, mentor, professors, or persons in legal matters. And for Cancer rising, Saturn rules your seventh house. So all the themes that I've just mentioned could be coming up regarding your partner as well. Your partner, or by your partner, you receive a more stable image in society, or he can put you in a higher position. Blessings are found into the seventh house area of partnerships. So your partnerships prove to be of more stabilization, or they could become more long term. You could also meet someone very stable or secure during your travels, or something related to studying and to philosophy, travel. You can all like integrate that together with your partner as well. So very good time to like publish a book that is connected to spirituality, travel, higher education, philosophy, or make a new business partnership in those areas. So good luck, Cancer. I'm gonna drink a bit. Okay, my dear Leos, your Saturn is going direct into the eighth house. So the house of transformation, the house of intimacy, joint assets, inheritance, taxes, major financial changes, psychological healing, trust issues in a relationship, some blockages that were surrounding those themes or surrounding money will be lifted. Some delays around shared finances will slowly get removed. Stagnant energy regarding intimacy will start to feel lighter. But the eighth house is mostly a financial house, and it's about money that you receive through others. So through your business partner, through insurance, inheritance, taxes, delays in these areas will start to unfold. The pressure starts to feel lighter, and things will move forward around those themes. So psychological issues start to untangle, trust issues start to slowly lessen its grip on your life. Traumas and pains from the past are moving in a more positive direction. So sometimes it can indicate a lot of suffering, and you can't like put your finger on why. So it can be a little bit hidden, the eighth house. So heavy pressuring feelings are slowly unfolding. Complications around money start to move in the right direction. And if you've put some extra effort in these areas of your life, you will now slowly start to reap the fruits or the benefits from it. And I think the most beautiful one is the blockages around intimacy, or things that you receive through someone else slowly start to come back in your life. And if people have been owing you money, now it can start to slowly come through again. Or if you are waiting on an inheritance, for example, that can move forward again as well. And for Leo risings, Saturn rules your sixth house of service towards others. So it's the house where you work to release yourself from debt. So positive changes in that. The sixth house is also like working for another person, like for a boss, even if your boss is found into the 10th house, but working for your boss and your daily routine and schedule is found into the sixth house. So a positive change towards co-workers, pets, your health, because it's also about your health and your well-being. Maybe some trauma, and the eighth house gets released and boosts your well-being. And by that, positive changes or can be made into your daily habits as well. So very, very positive in those areas. So good luck, my dear Leos. Virgo, Saturn is moving direct into your seventh house. And for Virgos, this can be like a little bit tricky because Saturn is in your opposite sign. So it's very, very palpable, very impactful, and the middle degrees of Virgo, so degrees around 10, 15, will be very impacted by this. And Virgos are actually under a lot of pressure because of Saturn oppositing their sign, and they can like be really, really feel under the weather because Saturn's scrutiny towards your relationships is a little bit intense since March next previous year. So it's also about solidifying or like dissolving partnerships, depending on which aspect it makes in your chart. But like Saturn can be like really create stabilization, but things that are not stable, he can like easily remove from you as well. So it's a little tricky position. So it moves very slow, Virgos. It will take like, it will stay at the 12th degree for the entire month. So a big shift in partnerships, but slowly start to move forward. So it can also be some big pressure or responsibility regarding others, business partnerships, marriage, clients, audience, contracts, agreements. They will all were under review for the past few months, and now you can like make new changes regarding that as well. Because some partnerships probably needed a lot of restructuring, and now this will start to flow better again. Or a situation regarding another person that was stuck now gets breakthrough, and problems in your marriage or business partnerships, difficulties, distance, testing of commitment, contracts, it all starts to flow again in a more easy way. And also opponents in legal matters start to ease off as well. So if you have been dealing with that, that can like be little bit released as well. And combined projects that were stuck will move, will start to move again. Because Saturn is very restrictive, very hard, very challenging, and his influence will now start to loosen up. So complications in marriages can slowly get resolved as well. For some, these will go smoother than for others, depending on your natal chart aspects. And if you are single, put up some very high standards and low expectations with Saturn placed there. Because Saturn in the seventh can also indicate like karmic relationships, delays in marriage. It's like it blocks your marriage house until spring next year. And for Virgo risings, Saturn rules your fifth house of creativity, spotlight, children, gambling, hobbies, creative projects. They all start to move into a better direction as well. And they could prove to be of great value and very rewarding over a long term, with Saturn ruling that house. And now with Venus in that house, now you can like expect some good things to happen there as well. But just know Venus in the fifth house can give like short-term fling, attraction, but in order to become long-term, we would need to look at your chart, which aspect Saturn currently makes for you. So keep that in mind. So the problems in your life, they have like less to do with you and it's more about other people. So put up clear boundaries between you and your marriage and business partners, work on commitment and dedication, and don't forget to shine bright and show yourself on stage in the upcoming month as well. So good luck, Virgos. The next one is Libra. Your Saturn is currently moving direct into your sixth house of health, well-being, work, service towards others, pets, co-workers, daily routines, your schedule. So if you have felt like stuck in your job for the last 3 months, or you had like a health setback, Saturn will slowly start to release its pressure in that area of your chart. Maybe your workload became too much and you had like a nervous breakdown, because it's the traditional house of Virgo. It can give a lot of stress. And Saturn in the sixth house is like, really, you need to watch out for health issues as well. So these things can be like reviewed and restructured, and now move forward again, and like refine your daily habits as well. So yeah, your relationship with your co-workers start to be less heavy. You can increase your productivity again. But yeah, Saturn in the sixth, E Hartley is saying, and rising in Virgo, boundaries. Yes, that's very true. Boundaries are always an issue with Pisces. So Saturn really gives you like the ability to put structured boundaries into the sign of Pisces. So that is actually a positive manifestation of this transit. But Saturn in the sixth, like if you are a little bit older already, it can like really mess a little bit with your joints, because Saturn rules time and age. So your joints or your bones could feel like become weaker, or feel more stressed, or you are more burdened. You can have more back pain. Also look out for your teeth. Do a regular checkup regarding that, because I know from my own experience, whenever Saturn is in the sixth house, it can give unexpected problem with teeth. So really go to your dentist and make an appointment. But it can also just mean, if you have taken your responsibility in the past regarding your health, it can create a lot of stability as well. And that stability is going to flow into your job and into your service towards others. So slowly releasing its burdens. By the end of December, you will, by the beginning of December, you will start to feel a shift and a change. Or you will see like the results, if you have been working on your health, or the energy that you've put in at your job, they will start to become more visible. So new routines in your job or in your health that feel less heavy, and learn to say no to tasks and habits that are not beneficial or are too burdensome for you. Very important for Libra risings. And it rules your fourth house. So something around the home or the family that was stuck can change. Maybe that will have an impact on your work, or vice versa, or in your daily routine, or in your health, something connected to the family. But yeah, people with Saturn in the sixth house really need to put extra emphasis and be extra careful towards your health during this entire transit, especially with the upcoming eclipses as well in March and in September next year. I think it's September, I don't know exact. So really rest, recuperate when it's time to do so. Sixth house, autonomic nervous system is found there. So Saturn in the sixth house can give you a lot of burdens, can feel very overstressing. So look at your mental health and take supplements to calm down the nervous system. For example, I'm a Virgo rising, and in Placidius house system, I still have Saturn in my 6th house right now. So I have been going through the burden and having a lot of work and needing to put in a lot of effort and dedication. And I take a lot of high grade saffron supplements. It like calms the nervous system. And I take like shilajit for concentrating, and omega-3. I take a whole lot of things, but I'm a Virgo rising, so I'm like very, very critical and very, very mindful about my health, because I did endure health setbacks in the past, because I am born with the natal Saturn in my 6th house. So I know this is like a repetitive theme throughout my life that I really need to work on. And because I am 29, almost 30 now, I am going through my Saturn return, which means that Saturn is currently back at its natal 6th house position in my area of health. And like, I'm going to be honest, I worked so much on my health and I've never been better. So if you really did put in dedication and a lot of effort, Saturn can like really, really reward you with long-standing results. So it's a very important planet if you have it in the 6th now. So good luck, Libras. My dear Scorpios, Saturn goes direct into your 5th house, and it's also in a fellow water sign, so it's also stabilizing your life. So the 5th house, it is the house of romance, short flings, attraction, creativity, fun, love, being in the spotlight, showing yourself on stage. So maybe you felt a little bit stuck in those areas. And now Saturn is going direct and it's going to release some pressure. So tension gets more and more removed by the end of the month in those areas. So I think a lot of Scorpios didn't have or didn't make enough time for fun. Maybe it was a little bit harder to implement fun into your life during this transit in your 5th house, which started in March 2023. So blocks around romance and children are gonna be less heavy, or maybe your children were a very big responsibility. Maybe they proved to be of a little bit of a burden. Let's be honest, like I don't have kids, but if I look at my friends who have kids, sometimes I'm thinking like, wow, how do you do it? So very big respect for those who have like kids, because my Saturn rules my 5th house of kids. So I look at it in a very, very responsible manner. And I think it's like the biggest dedication that you can have in your life. So all my biggest respect to all the mamas who are here. So all the blocks revolving around kids, around romance, around fun will all start to get lifted slowly by the end of this month. And even if your kids endured some problems, that can turn around as well. Also, if you have been feeling stuck creatively, or in your hobbies or in your natural born talents, which are also found in the 5th house, that can like become more positive as well. So, channel your creativity into something lasting now that Saturn goes direct, and really, really focus on self-love and on cultivating that. And when you do that, your creativity will start to like untangle and really start to flow again. And for Scorpios, Saturn rules your 3rd house. So maybe by showing yourself or by completing creative projects and like showing them on your website, you could receive like a lot of love and appreciation through electronical devices, which is found under the 3rd house, or maybe websites, social media, your siblings, your immediate environment are all part of the 3rd house. So you can like really, really have better communication with your children because of that, more loving communication towards your romantic attraction as well. So really, really communicate in sweet words of affirmation towards yourself. and towards others to enhance self-love and love in the area of your romantic attractions and children as well. So good luck, my dear Scorpios. Sagittarius, your Saturn is going direct into your fourth house of home, family. It's also a very deep emotional home. So middle Sagittarius, yeah, if you have like a Sagittarius sun or rising into the middle degrees of the sign, like around 10 or 15, something around that, they feel very, very pressured because Saturn has been making a square towards your sun or your rising sign. So all the Sagittarius are actually under this pressure, but these degrees will have like the biggest impact. So a very, very important block will start to turn into a more positive direction. It's maybe a good time to address family issues in a mature way, or something connected to your family. Most it can be the mother and the father. It can be both because the fourth house rules the mother and Saturn rules the father. So can be like your family in general as well. It can also be about real estate blocks, or your place of residence that was being blocked in some kind of way, or maybe you want to move. Saturn also symbolizes structures of our homes. So maybe some reparations needed to happen with the basement, or on the first floor, or the ground floor. Damage to property can occur, delayed building or renovation. And Saturn and Pisces in a water sign in your fourth house can like really cause some leakages. So maybe you needed to be doing plumbing around the home, but house improvements that are done now will have like a very long beneficial effect onto your house. But keep in mind that problems with water can occur while Saturn is transiting in your fourth house. So maybe you also wanted to like buy a new home and this was like blocked in some kind of way. And now you start to have like a better understanding about where you would like to move. But if you do decide to move place, do it with careful planning. Don't rush it. Saturn asks patience. So if you buy a house now, before late spring, really look closely at the foundations of the house, and check also, how do you say that in English? Moisture in the walls. I think you will understand it by that. Especially for Sag rises, because for them, Saturn is in the fourth house. But if you're not struggling with your place of residence and maybe also not with your family, it can also be like with your own personal emotions, because the fourth house is very deep emotional house. It is at the bottom of the chart, so it is like a very, very sensitive point in a personal natal chart. So maybe some Sagittarius also had to take more responsibility around the home, needing to care for some elder person in the family, and that could have been like a huge burden. And Saturn now starts to move forward, so you will start to feel like a big shift into all of these themes that I just mentioned. And for Sagittarius, Saturn rules your second house. So more stability regarding your finances can come up now. Maybe that's going to be related to your fourth house in any kind of way. So blocks around money can start to lessen, and it's a good time to create new stable ways of making income. And with Venus transiting there, expect some blessings to fall in your second house of money, possessions, but it's also self-esteem. Maybe Saturn in the fourth house starts to lift some blocks in your emotional self and gives like a very big positive change towards your self-esteem as well. So that's also possible. So good luck, my dear Sagittarius. Then Capricorn. This is a biggie for you because you are ruled by Saturn. So Saturn goes direct into your third house. Third house is all about communication, about learning, adding structure to your immediate environment. It's about siblings, like brothers and sisters, nephews, nieces, cousins are all there. So what's also there is like your thoughts. Your thoughts are found in the third house as well. I almost forgot to mention that, and it's like the most important one. So Saturn in the third house can give like a very, very big block into your thoughts. It can very well be that since March last year, you could have felt like more heavy in your thinking, having a lot of burdens in your mind, feeling like you don't have clarity in your thinking, because Saturn restrains, and refrains your thinking. Maybe you need to think more about your sudden words, and you feel like your communication has not been going so smoothly since March last year. So now that Saturn goes back direct, you can have like more serious conversations, also maybe about how you feel in your mind. You can have like more responsibility in your words. That is what Saturn is trying to do here. But you could feel like very blocked on the communication side as well. But very try to channel this energy into getting serious about learning, about writing, about speaking. Third house is also social media, so maybe you can be consistent on putting some things out on social media. It can be good to do long-term promotions, make a structured website, start blogging in any kind of way. Um, and your relationships with siblings and neighbors tend to get more serious since March last year, but could also prove to be a little bit blocking, because depending on how Saturn is aspected into your natal chart. So all these issues that I just mentioned, like the third house is also communication and cars. It's also short trips. It's being on the road. All these problems, if you have encountered them there as well, they will start to loosen, or will lessen in strength, or become less blocking. So yeah, mental pressure could really start to feel lighter. Issues with cars or transformation can get fixed now. Saturn there can also like prove to be, it can feel like you are not being heard in your immediate environment. This also gets better. It's all related to your neighbors, your relatives. It can also be related towards documents. So Saturn rules your first house, or your sign, of course. So you will feel like the biggest shift in the turning of direction. And luckily, Venus is in your sign. It's present here into the sign of Capricorn. So expect blessings with love, money, sweets, and like the finer things in life. It is a good time for you now, Capricorns. Enjoy the blessings of Venus, because all the heavy blocks will start to slowly, gradually get away by the end of this month. So really focus on Venus, and enjoy the sweet, loving planet in your sign right now. So good luck, Capricorns. The next one is Aquarius. And Aquarius, this shift for you is very important as well as for Capricorns, because traditionally Saturn ruled Aquarius. So you are like very influenced by this as well, especially this month with a full moon on Uranus, your planet. So this can be like a special month for Aquarius. So it's in your house, in your second house of finances, self-worth, personal values. So it's a big time to reassess what you value. Saturn has been putting a strain on your income, I'm not gonna lie, whenever Saturn enters your second house, it's very, very necessary to have like a big financial plan, to have a backup plan, to have like savings for when Saturn causes some unexpected expenses. So I don't know if we have an Aquarius here, and if you have been struggling with income. I know some Aquariuses who really did put the effort in. Now they like are enjoying their long stable income that Saturn is now rewarding them with. But if you have been like a little bit procrastinating, or a little bit not handling your finances in the right way, Saturn can like really come around here, or came around here since March 2023, and can give you like a big reality or shock into the money sector of your chart. So you might feel a little tight on budget, and needing to like really manage your budget since that time. And if you have been saving and you already like implemented a more mindful approach towards money, this transit might feel less harsh for you. But now that Saturn has turned direct, blocks around money will start to change and will start to move forward again, but slowly, step by step. You will start to feel its impact by the end of the month. But you will still need to manage your budget and have like a big financial backup plan until spring next year, when Saturn moves out of your second house. So all the delays in resources and the blocks in your self-worth are gonna get better. Shifts in self-esteem, like it's good. Saturn is like investing a lot in personal growth, but it's a slow progress. So it's really good time for Aquarius to like reflect on what security means to you. The second house is also food. Maybe sometimes Saturn blocks the appetite, or it can cause problems with eating, teeth, throat, taste. Those will also start to lessen. Or maybe Saturn showed you that some things that you are eating are causing complications during the retrograde, and now that will start to go into the right direction as well. So the pressure around those themes and around money are going to go a bit smoother. But if you are very rich and wealthy, it would be very good for you to help other persons in need, because Pisces is the sign of selflessness, of unconditional love towards other. It's about the underprivileged, the ones who are like left out in society as well, or who are like in hospitals, in jails, or have like very serious illnesses. And because Saturn and Neptune are here, it would be very good for your personal karma to go help out those in need, but only if you're capable, because Saturn is the planet of karma. And if you do help others who are in need during this transit, it could prove to be very rewarding for you in the next 7 and 14 years, whenever Saturn makes another transit in your chart. So and if you have been struggling with money, my dear Aquariuses, do not let money define who you are. Like, don't let your worth be based on what you like own and possess. That is like the biggest lesson of Saturn in the second. So for Aquarius risings, the 12th, Saturn rules your 12th house. So blocks around mental health, blocks around sleep, dreams can also be lifted. Make time for spiritual practices, 12th house, to lessen the energy of Saturn in your second house. Self-esteem. So actually, by tapping into spiritual practices and to like really start to meditate or do yoga or do other spiritual practices, you can like boost your self-esteem and lessen the harsh influences of the impact that Saturn has on your money sector. So that's actually like a very good tip to navigate these times of Saturn in your second. So really connect to spirituality. It's about like renewal and shifting your energy in a more spiritual way. And a big lesson and a big teaching that your worth is actually based on your connection with the divine rather to what you're owning. So good luck, Aquarius. Then, last but not least, Pisces. And oh my, this is like a biggie for you, Pisces, because Saturn turns direct in your sign. And if you have like a moon in Pisces, which is also very, very important, you are going through your like Saturn Sati, and it's like something you can look up to. It is like a 7-year cycle of very, very intense, difficult, harsh themes entering your life. It is like really, really Saturn putting the brakes on you, really testing your dedication and commitment, especially if you have a Saturn moon here placed as well. So but people or Pisces who have planets around 12 degrees, ranging from 8 to 15, they have been feeling very, very burdened. But actually, all Pisces have been feeling burdened, especially since March 2023, when Saturn entered Pisces for the first time. So a lot of pressure and blocks feels very, very heavy for Pisces because Saturn is on top of you. Very, very heavy restrictive energy, and it stays at the 12th degree for the entire month. So expect slow progress. Even though there's a shift and a moving forward, we will only feel the change more towards the end of November, middle of December. So all the difficulties, the big responsibilities, your blocks, your heavy burdens will really start to move forward and move more into the right direction again. But Saturn is slow, Saturn rules time, Saturn wants patience, so baby steps. And all Pisces have been going through this Saturn conjunct to Sun, or if you have a Pisces rising, you had Saturn conjunct to rising, and it's been a very, very heavy time. Even if you have like other planets placed around in the sign of Pisces, for example, I have 4 planets in Pisces, and like Saturn has been going over all of them since March last year. So it was constantly like, come on, work, 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 dedicate, commit, put in the hard effort, like working until after midnight to get all my things finished. And it's like really, really like, I'm like, Saturn, please calm down because like I am tired. So Saturn can indicate a lot of heavy responsibilities that can be very burdensome, but if you like put in the hard work and the effort now, it will like really grant you its long-term success, and it can like set you up for another Saturn cycle. So every 7, 14, and 30 years, Saturn makes a whole cycle. So if you have like been, if you implement a lot of new things now, they can be very, very rewarding for your next Saturn cycle. And you can be like put into an authority position because Saturn rules authority. So even though it's a very strict master, you can now like move forward with the backbone that you've created for yourself, which is like very important. And if there are Pisces here who are 29 or 30 years old, you are going through your Saturn return. And as a Pisces, maybe it means you also have Saturn and Pisces, which makes it like it makes it harder. I'm not gonna lie, like, but just know once you get through this period, Saturn will grant you its lessons and will grant you bigger responsibility. You will be way more matured, will implement way more wisdom, and it's like a big karma payout. Saturn really wants to like release your inner wisdom, letting you also know that it's okay to be alone, because Saturn in Pisces on your sun sign or on your rising sign can feel very isolating. Saturn 12th house is connected to jails, isolated places, hospitals. So some Pisces could be having to deal with some of these issues. But Saturn is trying to teach you that it's okay to be alone. It is like teaching you how to enjoy your own company. And it's only when you love yourself that it's like gets expanded into the world, and that other people are gonna love you back. Like I always say, expect the same love in return that you have for yourself. And like Saturn is trying to teach you that, and it's trying to show you how to cultivate that as well. So some might feel lonely, but really like try to be grateful, because it's better to be alone or to feel alone than to be around other people who do not have your best interest at heart. And it's something that he has been teaching me as well. So it's making you more responsible about life in general, and it's like embedding realism into reality, in your current reality. So situations are slowly gonna turn back around now. You're gonna start seeing the results from all your previous hard efforts, and it's like adding a lot of discipline, and it's like bringing forth very karmic situations. It can also indicate problems with older people or in authority. Now it gets turned around, and they can like start to help you better with the Saturn direct. But all of this starts to like slowly move into the right direction, and there's like a release of pressure by the end of the month. But like Saturn is maturing you in such a big way, and your personal maturity will pay off in the long term. So just remember that whenever you endure a difficult situation. It's actually a lot about self-acceptance. Set clear goals, stick to them, and you will have success, I guarantee you. But big tests in your perseverance, in your honesty, in your reliability. And I'm gonna be very clear: Pisces who lie during these times, or Pisces who lied in the past, they can like really suffer very big karmic consequences since March 2023. So don't try to take any shortcuts. Don't try to ignore your tasks, or you will face instant karma during these times. But if you're honest, if you're very reliable, if you're very direct, honest towards other people, expect good results in return. So for Pisces, thank you so much, Triple Leo Goddess, Triple Leo. Wow, that is so special. And Zipiti Doedang Dwang. You have such a funny name. I cannot pronounce it, but I'm very happy you're here along with us. And hello from Belgium. Thank you so much for joining. You can watch the replay if you like. So Pisces, you have been, or Saturn rules your 11th house. So big tests are revolving around social circles. Yeah, your friendships have been like a big testing ground since March 2023. And I think a lot of friends have left the building since then. But Saturn wants you to behave responsible towards your friends. It wants you to have more reliable friends, or be replaced by reliable friends. Or it could also indicate that maybe you're taking on a more leadership role in your social circles, or you became like a natural authority in your group of friends. And this means that you have like a good karma payout. If you have lost a lot of friends since March 2023, or you felt hurt or betrayed, or you betrayed some of your friends, that's pointing out to some lesser karma payout. And like these themes will stick around until May 2025. So keep doing good, Pisces. Keep up the strength, even though I know it's a hard time for you, and I wish you of good luck, my dear Pisces. So Maria Low Frequency, have to watch it again from Belgium, was watching TV and suddenly nothing anymore. Well, I'm happy to have you here with us tonight, and I'm gonna end this video on a positive note. Saturn is a it can be like a very big pain in the ass, I'm gonna be honest, but in the end, Saturn wants us to be honest, reliable, and to really like serve the collective consciousness, Pisces, now in a more structured and stable way. So as long as we're all honest and really like ground our spirituality, work on our physical health, that will be reflected into our mental health, or the other way around, just like really putting the or highlighting these themes again for the next year, because in 2025 that will be very important. And I want to thank each and every one of you for following along, and I'm sending so much love to each and every one. So good night, everyone. Bye.